The microphone feedback screeched through the Pierre Hotel's grand ballroom, cutting through the low hum of 487 conversations like a jagged knife. I flinched not because of the sound. I had personally sound-checked this system at 4:00 p.m. and knew the gain on Channel 3 was set too high. I flinched because of who was holding the mic. There she was, Kara, my baby sister, standing on the stage I had designed, under the theatrical lighting I had positioned, wearing a red sequin dress I had specifically told her was too flashy for a conservative corporate gala. She looked radiant, or maybe that was just the layer of sweat glistening on her forehead under the hot stage lights. Next to her, frozen like a deer in headlights, stood my husband Caleb, the CFO of Vanguard Systems, the man currently celebrating the biggest fiscal quarter in company history. He didn't look like a celebrating executive. He looked like a man who was about to vomit his $200 per plate filet mignon. His face had drained of color, turning a shade of pasty gray that matched the linen napkins I had selected 3 months ago. "Excuse me, everyone," Kara giggled into the mic, swaying slightly. Her voice was slurred, the champagne clearly doing its work. "I have a little surprise." The room went silent. The CEO, Mr. Robert Sterling, a man who prided himself on decorum and disliked surprises, paused with a canapé halfway to his mouth. His eyes darted to me, the event planner, the wife, the responsible one. "I know this is Caleb's big night," Kara continued, her breathy voice echoing off the crystal chandeliers. "But I just can't keep it a secret anymore. I'm pregnant." A collective gasp rippled through the room, then polite, confused applause. People smiled, looking from Kara to me, trying to do the math. After all, Kara was my sister. Why was she announcing her pregnancy at my husband's work party? Was she married? Was there a partner we didn't know about? I watched Caleb. He wasn't clapping. He was staring at the floor, his knuckles white as he gripped the podium. He looked like he wanted the stage to open up and swallow him whole. I felt a hand on my arm. It was Vera, my assistant for the night, actually. A retired cybercrimes detective turned private investigator. She leaned in, her voice low and steady. "Now, Mallory, do it now." I took a deep breath. The scent of pine, expensive catering, and impending disaster filled my lungs. I smoothed the silk of my emerald green gown, a custom piece, backless, designed to make me look like a queen. And tonight I was the Queen of Hearts, and I was about to call for their heads. This was it. The moment I had been planning for 6 weeks. I walked toward the stage. The click-clack of my heels echoed on the hardwood floor. Every head turned toward me, the beautiful wife, the supportive sister, the professional event planner who had orchestrated this entire evening down to the last detail. Kara saw me coming and beamed. "Mel, did you hear you're going to be an auntie?" I stepped onto the stage. I took the microphone from her hand with a gentle but firm grip. I smiled. It was the kind of smile that makes people nervous. The kind of smile a shark gives before it drags you under. "That's wonderful, Kara," I said, my voice steady, amplified through the state of the art sound system I had rented. "Truly wonderful." I turned to the crowd. 487 faces, employees, board members, investors, the elite of the logistics world. "But you left out the best part," I said, locking eyes with Caleb. "Tell them who the father is, Caleb." His eyes widened. He shook his head, a microscopic movement. "Don't, please, Mel." I turned back to the audience. "Since my husband is too modest to say it, why don't I show you?" I pulled a small remote from my pocket and clicked a single button. Behind us, the massive 20-foot LED projection screen that was displaying the Vanguard Systems logo flickered. And then everything changed, but he had no idea what was coming. In 10 minutes, he wouldn't just be unemployed. He would be destroyed. "My name is Mallory Dean. I'm 38 years old, and for the last 15 years, I've made a living out of making things perfect. I'm a senior event planner for high-end corporate clients in Westchester County. You know those galas where the centerpieces are taller than the guests and the gift bags cost more than my first car? That's me. I organize chaos. I manage timelines. I ensure that when a CEO steps up to a podium, the lighting is flattering, the sound is crisp, and the champagne is chilled to exactly 42 degrees. I live in a world of run-of, shows and contingency plans. If a caterer cancels, I have 3 backups on speed dial. If it rains, I have a tent on stand. I don't do surprises. I do precision. I do exactitude. My husband, Caleb Dean, is 40. He's the CFO of Vanguard Systems, a logistics tech firm that's been the darling of Wall Street for the last 2 years. He's charming, ambitious, and looks great in a tailored suit. We live in a sprawling colonial in Forest Hills, the kind with a wraparound porch and a lawn that looks like it's manicured with nail scissors. To the outside world, we are the power couple, the executive and the orchestrator, but if you looked closely, really closely, you'd see the cracks in the foundation. I just didn't realize the entire house was built on quicks, and until the floor fell out from under me. We'd been married for 12 years. 12 years of building a life. When we met, Caleb was a junior analyst sharing a studio apartment with 2 other guys in Queens. He slept on a futon. I was the one paying for dinner. I was the one editing his resumes at 2 a.m. I was the one who told him to wear blue because it brings out his eyes and makes people trust him. We built this life brick by brick. Or rather, I carried the bricks while he directed where they should go. "I'm too busy, Mel," became his mantra. "I can't deal with the contractors, Mel. I have a board meeting. I can't pick up the dry cleaning, Mel. I'm working late. I can't plan the anniversary dinner, Mel. That's your department." And I did it. I did it all because that's what partners do, right? You support each other. You pick up the slack. But lately, the slack had become an anchor, focused entirely on one person, my sister Kara. Kara is 26, the baby of the family, the golden child who could do no wrong mostly because she never actually did anything. She jumped from major to major in college, from job to job, from boyfriend to boyfriend, and every time she fell, Caleb was there to catch her. "She's just a kid, Mel," he'd say, signing a check for her rent again. "She needs a break, Mel," he'd say, letting her crash in our guest house for a few weeks that turned into 6 months. "Be nice to her, Mel," he'd say when I pointed out she hadn't unloaded the dishwasher once. I thought he was just being a good brother-in-law. I thought he was being generous. I should have noticed how his eyes lingered on her when she walked into the room wearing those tiny shorts. I should have noticed how he always smelled like vanilla, her signature scent, when he came home from late nights at the office. But I'm a planner. I look at the big picture. I miss the details right in front of my face, and that oversight almost cost me everything. My mother passed away 3 years ago, ovarian cancer. It was fast, brutal, and it left a hole in my universe that I'm still trying to navigate. Mom was a teacher. She wasn't rich, but she was smart. She saved every penny she could. She wore the same winter coat for 10 years so I could have piano lessons. A week before she died, she pulled me close to her hospital bed. Her hands were so thin, like parchment paper. "Mallory," she whispered, "I'm leaving you something for the grandbabies." We both teared up. Caleb and I had been trying to get pregnant for 4 years. IVF cycles, hormone shots, negative tests. It was a silent grief that hung over our house like fog. "It's not a fortune," Mom said, "but it's $150,000. It's in a separate trust. Use it for the treatments or for their college. Just promise me it's for the future." "I promise, Mom," I sobbed. Caleb knew about the money, of course he did. I told him everything. We should hold off on the next IVF cycle. He told me 6 months ago. "The market is volatile. Let's keep that money safe for now. Interest rates are up." But Mom wanted, I know what she wanted, Mel. He snapped, running a hand through his hair. "I'm the CFO. Trust me on the financials, okay? We wait." So I waited. I trusted him. I let that money sit in the account, gathering dust and interest, while my biological clock ticked louder every day. I didn't know that while I was grieving my mother and mourning the children I might never have, Caleb was finding other uses for her legacy. Looking back, the red flags were there. They were giant, waving crimson banners that I chose to ignore because the alternative was too painful to consider. Red flag 1, the perfume 3 months ago. Caleb came home at 11:30 p.m., working late on the quarterly projections, he said, loosening his tie. He kissed my cheek. He smelled like vanilla and jasmine. New cologne. I asked, pulling back. He stiffened. No, must be the office air freshener. They switched brands. It was the same scent Kara has worn since high school. Vanilla Fields, I bought it for her every Christmas. I told myself I was crazy. It's a popular scent, Mallory. Don't be paranoid. Red flag, too. The schedule I manage Caleb's calendar. I know where he is every minute of the day. Or I thought I did. 2 weeks ago, I asked him if we could do dinner on Tuesday. Can't, he said without looking up from his phone. Board dinner at Le Bernardin. Later that day, I was on the phone with Kara. So what are you up to this week? I asked. Oh, just busy, she said. Dinner with friends on Tuesday. Some fancy seafood place. I paused. Which one? I don't know. Some French name, she said quickly. Gotta go. Coincidence, I told myself it was. Red flag 3. The style change. Caleb has dressed like a suburban dad for a decade. Polos, khakis, loafers. Suddenly, he was wearing slim fit jeans. He bought a leather jacket. He started listening to pop music that Kara loved. Songs he used to call trash. Just trying to stay young, Mel. He laughed when I asked about the new sneakers that cost more than our mortgage payment. Midlife crisis, right? Red flag 4. The coldness. This was the one that hurt the most. He stopped touching me. He stopped asking about my day. He looked at me with a mixture of boredom and irritation, like I was an appliance that had stopped working properly. You're always so stressed, he'd say when I tried to initiate intimacy. It's a turnoff, so I tried harder. I lost 10 pounds, I dyed my hair, I bought new lingerie. He didn't notice. Red flag 5. The sisterly affection. Kara started coming over more. A lot more. She'd sit next to him on the couch, their thighs touching. She'd fix his collar. She'd laugh too loud at his jokes. She's lonely, Mel, Caleb would say when I brought it up. She looks up to me. Stop being jealous of your own sister. It's gross. Gross. That's the word. He used to make me feel like the pervert for noticing that my husband and my sister were acting like a couple. Red flag 6. The gift last month was Kara's birthday. I bought her a nice sweater. Caleb bought her a bracelet, a gold tennis bracelet with tiny diamonds. It was on sale. He lied. Costco. I saw the box later in the trash. It wasn't Costco. It was from a boutique in Soho. I just wanted to make her feel special, he said when I asked. You know she's had a hard year. I let it go. God, I let so much go. It happened on a Tuesday, November 12th. I remember the date because it was National Pizza Day, and I was looking up a recipe for homemade dough from scratch because Caleb had mentioned he missed real food. Caleb had left his iPad on the kitchen island. He usually took it everywhere, guarded it like the nuclear codes, but he had rushed out for a client emergency and forgot it. I needed to check a date for the Christmas party venue. I picked up the iPad. I knew his passcode, 1234. He's not original. I opened the calendar app. Tuesday night was blank. No board dinner. No client emergency. That was odd. My thumb hovered over the Photos app. I don't snoop. I pride myself on trust, but something. Maybe mom's ghost, maybe just intuition made me press the icon. The gallery opened. At first, it was normal. Pictures of our dog, a few shots of the garden, work screenshots. Then I scrolled up, and the world tilted on its axis. There was a folder labeled K. I opened it. The first photo was of Kara. She was wearing a bikini. I recognized it. We bought it together in the Hamptons. She was posing on a boat. Our boat. The next photo was of them together, a selfie, their heads pressed together, cheeks flushed. Caleb was kissing her temple. I felt a cold numbness spread from my chest to my fingertips. My heart didn't race. It stopped. I kept scrolling. It got worse. Kara in a hotel robe. Caleb and Kara toasting with champagne glasses, the crystal ones from our wedding registry. A video. I shouldn't have clicked play, but I did. It was shaky footage. Kara was laughing, spinning around a bedroom I didn't recognize. Tell me you love me. She giggled at the camera. Caleb's voice, clear as day, from behind the lens. I love you, baby. You know I do. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. Better than her. Kara asked, pouting playfully. A pause, then Caleb, she's ancient history, just a roommate who pays the bills. You're my future. I dropped the iPad on the granite counter. The clang echoed in the silent kitchen. Just a roommate who pays the bills. I stood there for a long time. The humming of the refrigerator sounded like a jet engine. I should be crying. I should be screaming. I should be throwing his $2.00 espresso machine through the window, but I wasn't crying. I was calculating. I picked up the iPad again. My hands were steady now. I airdropped the folder to my phone. Then I went to his email. Search term, Kara, hundreds of emails, hotel confirmations, jewelry receipts, Tiffany and Company pendant, $2 $847.82. Lease agreements, luxury apartment, $500/month, and then I saw it. A bank transfer notification from 3 days ago. Transfer from trust account ending in 8,892. Amount, $15,000. Memo, KD Consulting. Caleb doesn't have consultants. He has staff, and he definitely doesn't pay them from my mother's memorial trust. I searched his email again. Search term, KD. Nothing in the inbox. I checked the trash. There it was. A deleted invoice from Kindred Diagnostics. Patient Kara Dean. Service, NIPT genetic screening and concierge maternity package. Total, $15,000. Kindred Diagnostics, KD. He wasn't paying a consultant. He was paying for high-end prenatal genetic testing for my sister. I looked at the date of the invoice, 3 days ago. Then I looked at the files in the K folder again. The photo of the pregnancy test, the timestamp was from August, 16 weeks ago. I sat down on the bar stool. The granite felt cold against my arms. Kara was pregnant with my husband's baby, paid for with my dead mother's money. I didn't scream. I didn't break anything. I didn't throw the iPad. I walked to the pantry, poured myself a glass of wine, a vintage Cabernet Caleb was saving for a special occasion, and took a sip. Okay, I said to the empty room. Okay, the tears could wait. I had a party to plan, and before that, I had to see it for myself. The next morning, I didn't call Vera immediately. I needed to be sure. I needed to see them. I knew from the email trash that Kara had a doctor's appointment at 10:00 a.m. at a specialist on the Upper East Side. I called my office. I'm sick. I lied. Food poisoning. Don't call me. I took the old Honda Civic we keep for the nanny. Caleb wouldn't recognize it. I parked across the street from the medical building. 9:50 a.m. At 9:58 a.m., a black Uber SUV pulled up. Caleb got out. He wasn't at work. He was wearing his client meeting suit. He walked around the car and opened the back door. Kara stepped out. She was wearing leggings and an oversized sweater. She looked fragile. Caleb put his arm around her waist. He kissed her forehead. It was a gesture so tender, so intimate, it felt like a slap across my face. He handed her a coffee. She took a sip and made a face. He laughed and took it back. They looked like a young, happy couple excited about their first baby. They looked like us 10 years ago. I watched them walk into the building. I gripped the steering wheel so hard the leather creaked. That's my husband. That's my sister. That's my money. I took a photo with my phone, zoomed in, clear as day. Then I drove home and called Vera Steele. Vera is a private investigator who specializes in high-asset matrimonial disputes. She's 50, wears leather jackets, and scares me a little. Vera, I said, I have a job for you. Cheating, embezzlement, and family betrayal. The trifecta, Vera said. My favorite. For the next 2 weeks, Vera built the case I had started. She found the apartment in Soho. Caleb had signed the lease as Caleb Dean, partner, not brother-in-law. She traced the money trail, the second mortgage on my house, the forged signature. She found the business trips that were actually weekends in Montauk with Kara. What's the plan? Vera asked me a week before the Christmas party, sliding a thick dossier across the diner table. I looked at the evidence. It was a weapon, and I was about to pull the trigger. The Vanguard Christmas party is next Saturday, I said. Vera raised an eyebrow. Public execution, the biggest event of the year, I said. I'm in charge of the AV presentation. I control the sound, the lights, the screens, and the exits. Vera grinned. I'll send you the digital files. Hi, Rez, you want the audio too. I want everything, I said. And Vera, I need security. Then I called Miranda Sharp. Miranda is the shark of Manhattan divorce law. Dissipation of marital assets, she murmured, flipping through my file. Fraud, adultery, forgery. Oh, honey, we're going to gut him like a fish. I want everything, I repeated. The house, the pension, the car. I'll file for an emergency freeze on his assets today, Miranda said, and an ex parte order for exclusive possession of the marital residence. Given the fraud, the judge will grant it immediately. He won't be allowed back in the house. Perfect, I said. Have him served at the party. You're a mean one, Mallory. Miranda smiled. I learned from the best, I said. I married him, didn't I? Miranda picked up her phone. I have a process server. Guy named Tony. He loves a show. The week of the party was a masterclass in acting. I deserve an Oscar. I cooked Caleb dinner. I asked Kara how her job hunt was going. I smiled until my face hurt. The party is going to be amazing, honey. I told Caleb on Thursday, adjusting his tie. Yeah, he said, checking his phone. Just make sure the CEO speech is loaded correctly. Sterling is picky. If this goes well, I'm looking at a massive bonus. Don't worry, I said, smoothing his lapel. I'm handling the presentation personally. It'll be unforgettable. I bought a new dress, not the safe, black, conservative number Caleb liked. An emerald green silk gown, backless, dangerous. I was dressing for a funeral. I went to the venue, the Pierre Hotel, on Friday for the tech run. Through. Okay, Mallory, the AV tech, a nice kid named Kevin, said, we have the year-in review slideshow here, sales charts, team photos, CEO speech, change of plans, Kevin. I said, my voice clipped and professional. Mr. Sterling sent over a revised reel this morning. He wants this one used instead. It includes the new Q4 projections. I handed him the USB drive. The Caleb surprise, I need to verify the file. Kevin said, reaching for the keyboard. Don't bother, I said, putting a hand on his shoulder. I've already reviewed it with the board. It's confidential until the reveal. Just load it, lock the console, and don't touch it until I give the signal. We don't want any leaks. Kevin nodded, intimidated by my senior planner tone. Understood, Mrs. Dean. Loaded, locked. Saturday arrived. The air was crisp. I felt calm, the kind of calm that comes right before a hurricane. We picked up Kara on the way. She was wearing red, a tight sequin number that showed a definite curve in her belly. You look glowing, I said. Thanks, she chirped. I just feel lucky tonight. Caleb caught her eye in the rearview mirror. He looked nervous. I checked my phone. Message from Miranda. Ex parte motion granted. Exclusive possession order signed by Judge Patterson. The locks are being changed as we speak. Message from Vera. Process server is inside. He's the one with the bad toupee pouring champagne. We arrived. The ballroom was stunning. I had outdone myself. Gold and silver Daker, towering pines, and ice sculpture of the Vanguard logo. Great job, Mel, Caleb said, patting my arm before wandering off to network. Kara clung to his arm. I'm going to get a drink of water, she giggled. I have a surprise for you later, Caleb. Caleb paled. Not here, Kara. Watch me, she whispered back. The night progressed. Speeches, awards, bonuses. Everyone was happy. Caleb was beaming. He had just received the Executive of the Year award. I couldn't have done it without my team, he said into the mic. And my family. He didn't look at me. He looked at Kara, standing by the stage. Then came the moment. Any other announcements? CEO Sterling asked jovially. Kara bounded up the stairs. She wasn't supposed to. This definitely wasn't in the schedule. I have one. She squealed. She grabbed the mic. I'm pregnant. The applause, the shock. And then me. Since my husband is too modest to say it, why don't I show you? I clicked the remote, the screen behind us, 50 feet wide, went black for a second. The room hushed. Then the first image appeared. It wasn't a sales chart. It was the bank statement, blown up to the size of a billboard. Transfer to Kindred Diagnostics, $15,000, memo, genetic screening patient Kara Dean. A ripple of confusion went through the crowd. Genetic screening, someone whispered, why is the company paying for that? Click the lease agreement. Tenant, Cara Dean, guarantor, Caleb Dean, partner, Caleb. CEO Sterling's voice cut through the silence. What is this? Caleb lunged for me. Turn it off, Mel. Stop it. He grabbed for the remote, but I sidestepped him. I'm faster in heels than he is in denial. Click the text messages. The ones that explained why Cara was on stage. Cara, I'm done hiding, Caleb. If you don't tell her tonight, I will. Caleb, don't do anything crazy. I need to divorce her first. I need the house, Cara. I'm announcing it at the party. Then you'll have to choose. The gasp in the room sucked the air out of the space. Cara stood frozen, her hand over her mouth. The red dress suddenly looked cheap. She looked from the screen to Caleb, realizing that everyone was reading their dirty laundry. Click the video, the shaky footage of Cara in the bedroom. She's ancient history. Just a roommate who pays the bills. Caleb's voice boomed through the speakers, echoing off the crystal chandeliers. You're my future, he said on screen, kissing her neck. Caleb turned to the AV booth. Kevin, cut it. Cut the feed. He screamed, his face a mask of panic. Kevin, bless him, shrugged behind the glass. Confidential board material, locked. Mallory, please. Caleb begged, turning to me. He was sweating now, rivers of it running down his face. We can talk about this, not here. Please, Mel, think about the company. Talk. I said into the mic, my voice calm, cool, collected. We're done talking, Caleb. You spent 4 years telling me we couldn't afford a family. You spent my mother's dying legacy on her. I pointed at Cara. My sister, my blood. You bought her a condo with the money my mother left for her grandchildren. I clicked one last time. A photo of the forged mortgage document, side by side, with my actual signature. Signature of Mallory Dean forged. Notary, Rick Sanchez. That, I said to the room, is a felony, second-degree forgery, and Mr. Sterling, I believe he used the corporate credit card for the client dinners at Le Bernardin. You might want to check the receipts. From the back of the room, the waiter with the bad toupee walked forward. Miranda's guy, Tony, Caleb Dean, he called out. Caleb looked like a trapped animal. What? Tony walked up the stairs and slapped a thick envelope into Caleb's chest. You've been served. Divorce papers, a civil suit for fraud, and an order of exclusive possession for the marital residence. Miranda does good work. Then the man turned to Cara. Cara Dean, why? Yes, Cara squeaked. He handed her an envelope too. Eviction notice, he said cheerfully. Since the lease was paid with stolen funds, the assets are frozen. You have 48 hours to vacate. I'd start packing. The silence in the room was absolute. Heavy like a physical weight pressing down on everyone's chest. Then CEO Sterling walked onto the stage. He looked at the screen, he looked at Caleb. Sterling is a family man. 5 kids, goes to church every Sunday. He prides himself on integrity. Caleb, Sterling said, his voice quiet and deadly. Bob, let me explain. Caleb stammered. It's a misunderstanding. She's crazy. She doctored the photos. I saw the bank transfers, Sterling said. I recognize the account numbers. You used the company fund for the down payment. It was a loan, Caleb cried. It was embezzlement, Sterling said. He turned to the crowd. Security. 2 burly guards materialized. Escort Mr. Dean out of the building, Sterling said, and take his badge and his phone and his car keys. That's a company car. Bob, you can't do this. I'm the CFO. You're fired. Sterling said, for cause morality clause section 4, paragraph 2. I wrote it myself. Caleb was dragged off stage. He was shouting, crying, begging. Cara tried to follow him, but she tripped on her dress. No one helped her up. She looked at me from the floor, mascara running down her face. How could you? I'm your sister. I looked down at her. No, I said, you're just a roommate who couldn't pay the bills. I dropped the mic. It made a satisfying thud. Then I walked off the stage, past the shocked faces, past the whispering investors, and out the double doors. I grabbed a glass of champagne from a tray on my way out. It was chilled to exactly 42 degrees. Perfect. Part 2, the fallout was nuclear. Caleb lost his job, his reputation, and his mind. In that order, the story of the Christmas party reveal went viral in the industry. He was blacklisted. No reputable firm would touch a CFO who committed fraud, forgery, and embezzlement. The fraud investigation triggered an audit of his work at Vanguard. Turns out he had been expensing client dinners that were actually dates with Kara. He had been using company funds to pay for her Uber rides, her clothes, her life. Vanguard sued him for restitution. But the moment I knew I had truly won wasn't in the courtroom, it was on the driveway. 3 days after the party, Caleb showed up at the house. He was driving a rented U-Haul. He looked like he hadn't slept or showered since the gala. His Executive of the Year suit was rumpled, and he wasn't wearing a tie. He marched up to the front door and tried his key. It didn't turn. I had changed the locks an hour after the party ended. Vera knows a guy who works 24/7. He pounded on the door. "Mallory, I know you're in there. Open the damn door. I need my things." I opened the door. I was wearing a silk robe and drinking coffee from his favorite mug. Behind me stood 2 large men, security contractors Vera had recommended. Just in case, she had said. She was right. "You changed the locks." Caleb spat, his eyes wild. "This is my house, actually," I said, taking a sip of coffee. "According to the emergency protective order Miranda filed this morning, this is my house. You're not allowed within 500 feet of it, or me." He laughed, a desperate, hysterical sound. "You can't be serious. All my stuff is in there, my suits, my watches, my golf clubs." "Oh, right," I said. "Your stuff." I signaled to one of the guards. He walked to the garage and dragged out 3 black trash bags. He tossed them onto the driveway at Caleb's feet. "What is this?" Caleb asked, staring at the plastic bags. "Your essentials," I said. "I packed for you. It was very therapeutic." He tore open the first bag. This is my college hoodie," he stammered, pulling out a faded gray sweatshirt with holes in the sleeves. "And my old sneakers. Where are my Armani suits? Where is my Rolex? Those were purchased with marital funds," I said sweetly. "They are currently considered disputed assets and have been seized by the court pending the fraud investigation. You know, since you bought them with money you stole from your wife and your company. You can't do this," he screamed. "I need clothes for court. I need to look professional." "You should have thought about that before you expensed your mistress's lingerie to the company account," I said. Neighbors were starting to come out. Mrs. Higgins from next door, the neighborhood gossip, was pretending to water her petunias, but her phone was definitely recording. "Go ahead, Caleb," I said, raising my voice slightly for Mrs. Higgins' benefit. "Scream at your wife, the one whose signature you forged, the one whose mother's legacy you stole. I'm sure it will play great for the judge." He looked around. He saw the guards. He saw Mrs. Higgins. He saw the trash bags. He deflated. The arrogant CFO was gone. All that was left was a sad, middle-aged man standing in a driveway with a bag of old clothes. "Kara kicked me out," he whispered. "The studio is too small. She says the baby cries too much. She says I'm a loser." "Well," I said, "she's not wrong about that. Mel, please, can I just come in? Just for a shower, please." He looked so pathetic, this man who used to command boardrooms, this man who used to tell me what to wear and how to speak. I walked down the steps. I stopped 3 feet from him. "Do you remember?" I asked quietly, "when my mother died?" He blinked. "What, do you remember? I was crying in the kitchen. I couldn't breathe, and you told me to pull it together because you had a conference call." He looked down. I was busy." "You weren't busy," I said. "You were texting Kara." I poured the rest of the coffee onto the driveway, right next to his sneakers. "Get off my property, Caleb, before I call the police and have you arrested for violating a restraining order again." He grabbed his trash bags. He dragged them to the U-Haul, looking over his shoulder like he was waiting for me to call him back. To save him like I always did. Not this time. I watched him drive away. Mrs. Higgins waved at me. I raised my mug in a toast. "Morning, Mrs. Higgins," I called out. "Beautiful day for a clean start, isn't it?" Miranda Sharp was brutal in court. "We proved the forgery. We proved the theft of the trust fund." The judge, a stern woman named Judge Patterson, looked at the evidence and looked at Caleb with pure disgust. "Mr. Dean," she said, "your conduct is reprehensible. It is a betrayal of the highest order. I got the house. I got the car. I got 100% of his 401k to repay the trust fund he stole, plus damages. I got spousal support for 5 years because of the financial abuse. He got a studio apartment in New Jersey and a pile of legal debt so high he'll never climb out. Kara was evicted. She tried to move back in with our parents. My dad, who is usually a softie, met her at the door with a trash bag of her old clothes. "You betrayed your sister," he said. "You stole from your mother's legacy to sleep with your sister's husband. Don't come back until you fix it, and that might take a lifetime." She ended up moving in with Caleb in the studio. From what I hear, paradise didn't last long in 400 square feet with no money and a screaming baby. She had the baby, a boy. I haven't met him. I don't plan to. Caleb works at a car dealership now, used cars. Commission only. He tried to call me once to ask for a loan. I blocked the number. It's been 3 years. I sold the big colonial house. Too many ghosts. I bought a sleek condo in the city with a view of the river. It's mine, all mine. It smells like sage and freedom. I quit my job and started my own event planning firm, Phoenix Events. We specialize in high-stakes productions. We're booked solid for 2 years. I have a staff of 10. Vera handles our security consulting. She's still terrifying and wonderful. We get drinks every Tuesday. She rides her Harley to the office. I started therapy. Dr. Evans helped me unpack the guilt. You didn't destroy him. She told me during one session when I felt a pang of pity. He handed you the sledgehammer. You just swung it. You saved yourself. I also used the recovered trust fund money. Not for a baby, not yet. I started a scholarship in my mom's name, the Eleanor Dean Foundation. It helps single mothers go back to college. Mom would have loved that. Every year, we send 5 women to school. I read their essays and I cry happy tears. Last Tuesday, I was walking past a Best Buy. I needed a new cable for a presentation. I walked in and saw a guy in a blue polo shirt arguing with a customer about a warranty. He looked older, tired, his hair was thinning, and he had gained weight. It was Caleb. I froze for a second. He looked up and saw me. I was wearing a tailored cream suit, holding a Prada bag, looking every inch the CEO I now was. He stopped talking, his mouth opened slightly. He looked at the customer, then back at me. Shame washed over his face, turning at that familiar shade of gray. He took a step toward me. "Mal," he whispered, "Mallory." I looked at him, really looked at him. I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel sad. I felt nothing. He was just a stranger in a blue shirt. A bad investment I had finally written off. A canceled check. I adjusted my sunglasses. "Excuse me," I said to the stunned customer. "I think this associate is busy. You might want to find someone who knows what they're doing." Then I turned and walked out. The automatic doors parted for me like the Red Sea. I stepped out into the sunshine. It was a beautiful day. I hailed a cab. "Where to?" The driver asked. "Forward." I said, "Just drive forward." If this story resonated with you, I hope you take something from it. I share stories every day of women who refused to stay silent, who chose themselves, who built something new from the ashes. If you're reading this and you think you're stuck, check the receipts, trust your gut, and never, ever let them tell you you're crazy. Knowledge is power, knowing when to use it. That's wisdom, and the best revenge isn't getting even. It's getting better. Much, much better.